We ready? Start. Now, for many years past, most of these problems have been considered in the world context, and I had a feeling, and I still have that feeling, that the continent of Asia is somewhat neglected, somewhat overlooked. It is not considered important enough for as much attention to be given to it as is given to certain other parts of the world. Possibly that has been so because most of the people who were considering these problems were themselves intimately connected with the other parts of the world, and naturally they thought of them in the first instance. Naturally, also, if I have to consider these problems, I would attach more importance to Asia because it affects me more intimately. Para. About that kind of reaction apart, it is quite obvious that you cannot consider the problem of Asia or the problem of Europe or the problem of America or the problem of Africa in isolation from the problem of other countries. It just cannot be done. And if some countries which are fortunate enough today think that they can lead their lives in isolation irrespective of what happens in the rest of the world, it is obvious that they are under a misapprehension. Today, if one part of the world goes down economically, it has a tendency to drag others with it, just as when unfortunately war breaks out, other people who did not want war are involved. So it is not a question of the prosperous merely out of the generosity of their hearts helping those who are not prosperous, though generosity is a good thing. But it is a question of enlightened self interest, realizing that if some parts of the world do not progress, remain backward, they have an adverse effect on the whole economy of the world, and they tend to drag down those parts that are at present prosperous. Therefore, it becomes inevitable to consider these problems in the global way and to pay even more attention to those parts which are relatively backward. Asia has been for generations past in a some static and backward condition, but during the last few years, mighty forces have been at work in Asia. These forces inevitably thought in terms of political change to begin with, because without political change, it was not possible to have any far-reaching or enduring economic change. Large parts of Asia were colonial territory dominated by other countries. From that connection, they have obtained some advantage sometimes, while it did undoubtedly in a sense shake up that static condition. At the same time, it tended to preserve it too for the benefit of the people. Stop.